Hi, I'm Jeremy, and this is Austin Reviews, or Austin's Reviews, or some variation. He and I haven't figured that out yet. This is a review thing that basically I'm doing because I can, and I want to. Books, games, whatever I want. Deal with it. I don't care. Basically, a review thing because I can. Why not? Who cares? Unfortunately, Austin's not here this week because he's playing Elden Ring, and he just said when I asked him like, "Hey, do you have time to kind of do this together?" And he goes, "No, I'm playing Elden Ring," and I said, "Okay, cool." So I'm doing this inaugural episode by myself. Maybe Austin will be here next time I record one of these. I don't know. In question for today is... That was really bad. What we're doing today is a book review. The Thief Who Pulled on Trouble's Braids by McClung. This is the first book in the Amra Thetis series. It was published October 8th, 2012. It was self-published. It's about 200 pages, 210, 207, depending on which edition you get. It was the winner of the 2015 self-published fantasy blog-off, which was hosted by author Mark Lawrence of Prince of Thorns, stuff like that. He was good. It won. So so take from that what you will. Here's a summary of the book. I'm doing so great in this first video. This is basically just from Goodreads, kind of a short little blurb. Amra Thetis lives by two simple rules. Take care of business, and never let it get personal. Thieves don't last long in Lucernus otherwise. But when a fellow rogue and good friend is butchered on the street in a deal gone wrong, she turns her back on burglary and goes after something more precious than treasure. Revenge. There's more to the blurb, but I feel like it gives away too much of the book, personally. There's that's one paragraph, they have 4, and I said, nah, this is sufficient. Yeah. So if that sounds interesting, go read the book. Or if you don't want more spoilers than I'm gonna give right now, skip to the end of the video, however long it is. So now I'm gonna spoil things. I don't know what to do with my hands. This is going to be a great video for everybody who's not me. So this book has lots of different elements to it. Initially, it kind of starts as your revenge tale, what the blurb says. A friend of Amra's, Corbin, has a dealing to get a stowed statuette. The person who he needs to get it for basically kind of reneges on that deal, and Corbin's killed. And then it turns into a whole revenge kind of semi-murder mystery, even though Amra knows who the killers are, and kind of knows why. That the killers are Bosch and Elmer Hiris. And I still don't know if Elmer is a title or a country or a culture. I still don't know. Hiris and Bosch are the two people who murder Corbin kind of for this toad statuette. Bleh. Basically, and then she goes on and tries to find out more about Hiris and Bosch a little bit, which then turns into her breaking into Hiris's estate or villa, which very quickly goes wrong, and then she goes out and deals with Bosch, and then is thrown in prison, and then deals with various other things, which basically just keeps cascading further and further until more about the statuette is kind of revealed, and it is revealed that it is from pre-diaspora, which is a big cultural significance portion, which I'll probably talk about later, or now, I don't know. I'm doing great, aren't I? But But the statuette is from the pre-diaspora and is of great importance, a very ancient, possibly a very powerful kind of item. More and more interacting with more people like Inspector Kluge or Lord Oscar de Trank Karun. Don't judge me. Who turned out to be Corbin's brother. And so that's another aspect to it there. Or even Estra Haig, who was Corbin's lover. So lots of different kind of pieces with that. I'm doing a great job summarizing this. And eventually they kind of, after dealing with Bosch and Hyrule in various ways, they Amra and her mage companion Holgren find that the statuette actually is called a one of the eightfold goddesses' blade. It is the blade of Abon. And so basically that is an item from pre-diaspora of the eightfold goddess, which is very powerful. And the blade of Abon is the blade of hate. So that's neat. She also, Amra, the main character, God, I didn't even say anything about that. Tough. Main character, she's great. I enjoyed her thought process and how she does stuff. That was a great summary. She finds out from Bosch and Hyrule that they weren't the ones that actually killed Corbin. They just kind of tortured him and let him go, trying to get back to where the statue was. Someone else actually killed him. And eventually, Bosch is killed. Hyrule is killed by the blade because he's actually someone called the Red Hand, a famous assassin who has lived for many, many years. He uses the blade of Aban to kill himself, and then Amra takes it to the god Bath of Secrets, and he basically says no, and she goes, damn it. But he does tell her a secret of how to deal with the hate emanating from the blade, which is apathy. And eventually that apathy overwhelms her, and then she uses she uses rage to overcome both the apathy and the hate of the blade, then using the blade's hate and turns it on itself, destroying it, which is then revealed in the epilogue to have broken a piece or a seal from the eightfold goddess. That's the story. I hope I ruined it for you. If it sounds even remotely good with how I said it, it probably doesn't because I'm very new at this, then you should go read it. And so now, things that I liked about this, because that's how reviews go. I thought the world was super interesting. It was really cool, and McClung does some very nice things with it. I would have preferred a map, but even though there wasn't one, I still feel like I was able to grasp the kind of world and area that he was talking about with Lucernus and the Dragon Sea and the city and all these kinds of things and how these characters interact with the world. I like that. I thought that was great. He talks about the culture and history of the area, which was very fun. And I think he does a really good job kind of differentiating the cultures of various places, Lucernus and such, and you can see that. It's mentioned more than once, and I appreciated that. As far as the history, I think he does a really good job kind of describing this history. It's a little bit in the background, kind of, but it's definitely brought up. There's a host note for the book that explains more of it, but you have ages of prehistory, the Age of Legend, the Cataclysm, the Diaspora, post-Diaspora, and the current age. And I really like that. I think it's really interesting. You don't really see things that are post-Cataclysm with such clarity. He does such a good job of kind of telling you what caused this Cataclysm and why. So that was neat. Which brings me on to the second kind of thing that I really liked, which was magic. I think he does a great job with how magic is used and what it can and can't do in this world. You kind of have four-ish types. You have philosophers, the people who caused the cataclysm, because they think everything was wrong and needed to change it. the author uses a character, a historian, or a cleric of the God of Knowledge to describe this, and it's very interesting how he ends up doing that and describes the cataclysm from these philosophers, and basically says, imagine trying to change a stool while you're still sitting on it and sawing one of the legs as you sit on it, which was very bad. The second type you have is divine magic, magic through the gods. Not much to say about that. The third is the art, which this, again, historian goes on to kind of say is like the main magic, which is the magic like magic of the world through this force, which is very neat. And you have characters like Holgren or Inspector Kluge that can use this kind of magic in neat ways, or even Bosch. And I thought it was very fun. And then you have the fourth type, which is Blood Witches, Necromancers, and Seers, which all of those are just cool. The historian author posits that the people who can cast this magic are of indigenous lineage, which I thought was really neat, and that kind of those types of magic lend more to prophecy and blood magic, and they say blood magic is crazy and very neat. And I went, oh, like a blood witch could either cure you of poison or kill you with it, because why not? So that's what I really liked. I liked how he did religion. It was less about kind of worship and stuff like this, and more like everyone kind of accepted that gods were a thing, but that didn't mean that you needed to worship them. And they had interesting interactions. Amra says mildly frequently, Curf's left testicle as kind of a swear, which I liked. Or Ison's creamy tits. Take that for what you will. Another thing McClung did that I liked was he said the title in the book. Sue me. I like that. He also does a really neat thing with how the country culture of Lucernus deals with the dead, and how their kind of funeral rites are. That was very cool. I don't want to talk more about it because I really liked it, and I think someone else should deal with it. It also was a quick read. It took me a few days. Again, it's 200 pages. It's not very long. It's not very difficult. It was enjoyable. It was worth my time. There were a couple things I didn't like. There was a very obvious Chekhov's gun of an item from Corbin's Fixer. Lockwood was kind of mentioned like 3 or 4 times in the book, and I kind of wish that it was mentioned once, and that would have been fine, but it kept coming up, and that was kind of annoying. I wish there was a map. It's personal preference. Maps are fun. I like geography. And the other minus, which isn't really a minus, this isn't like masterful prose. It's good writing. It's not the best writing. If that's bad to you, find a different book. Personally, there's actually not that big of a minus to me. I thought his language was good, his writing was good, or at least sufficient for what I was looking for in this book. So, worked for me. Highlights. These are the things that I want to just touch back upon because I don't know how to do these things. I like the mystery. I think that was really fun. I loved how all the magic was and everything with that. I, again, like the history and the world. He had some amusing jokes and kind of stylings between various characters, which I appreciated. And then here are some similar books. I haven't read these. These are just books that I found on like Goodreads that said, we're similar. And I said, I gotta put these somewhere. So you have things like Clockwork Boys, Black Tongue Thief, Paladin's Grace, The Copper Promise, and The Pariah. So those are all different kind of books that are similar to this. I can't say how much they are. Sorry. Final thoughts? I like this book. It was good. It was, to me, worth my time. Quick, pretty easy romp. Kept me hooked. It was some nice little twists and turns. Things I didn't expect. Things I liked. Wonderful magic. Wonderful world. The characters were interesting and dynamic, had some fun interactions with each other. Yeah. Here on Austin's Reviews, we have a 10-point system. So I'm going to go through this. This is our first time. I'll probably do it every time, so you know. 1 to 2, this is a book I didn't like. It has glaring issues. I don't want to talk about these kinds of books because I don't like them. 3, 4 is not a recommend. It may not have been for me. There may have been issues in writing, or the plot, or the language, or kind of anything. These are books that I think wasted my time, that I didn't like. Not as bad as 1 or 2, but still not worth my time. 5, 6, middle of the road. These are perfectly acceptable books that you're not going to write home about, but you're also not going to tell people, ooh, don't read that. So some people may like them more than others. Some people may not. These are perfectly good books. Maybe next time I should provide examples of what books I like that fall in these various categories. Maybe next time I'll do that. 7, 8, this is a good book. This is a book that I was entertained by and enjoyed, and probably would recommend to for fans of the genre. And maybe certain friends of mine, depending on the stylings I know. 9, this is a damn fine book. It's good story, good prose, it's good all around. It might not be for everyone, but if you like the genre, you're probably going to like this. And then 10, perfect. Everyone should read this book. It's great. Even if you don't like the genre, this is still a great book. This is a book that I would recommend and kind of would bring up randomly when talking about books to others, maybe even strangers that I don't know, because it is that good. This book is a 7.5, 7.5. So basically, all that means is it was good. I enjoyed it. I would recommend this book to others. It was quick. It was fun. I've said this 4 or 5 times now. Do what you want. I liked it. I'm going to continue reading the series. I'll make another one for The Thief Who Spat in Luck's Good Eye. So that's my review. If Austin were here, he would give this book a 5. I don't know what you want me to say about that. He's harsh. He just is. Now, on to our next kind of final thing. The little sting is, this is called Boosted. These are things that I am absolutely in love with that I think more people should know about. And this week, it is the Power Rangers. Kabonk bonk. It's the Power Rangers comics. I love them. They're fabulous. Everybody should read them. But I just love Power Rangers. So, they're great. You have 4 kind of series. You have Go-Go Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then that kind of splits into 2 series of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. They're great. The art style is fantastic. The story is great. Ryan Parrott and Kyle Higgins do a great job with the stories respectively, and I think they're awesome. 10 out of 10, everybody should read these. Especially if you like Power Rangers, they're probably closer to like a 9. And actually, I just love Power Rangers. They're great. So that's my Boosted. Thank you for watching. Please do something. How do you end a video? Bye!